After Max left the cafe, leaving her with his warning or curse or whatever to hire a lawyer, Camille's tears were hard to stop. She knew she had screwed up everything. Her marriage, her family, her whole life. She knew that her daughters would find out, her parents would know, all her friends would know. She would probably lose Max and her home. And Max, poor Max, seeing her lying in their bed, naked, probably with that damn Franklin who had a boner. This scene must have nearly killed Max, and Camille's tears continued. Finally, the waitress came over and asked if she needed to go to the ladies' room. Camilla choked back her sobs and managed to say, "No, thank you." She paid the bill and left, heading to the house that would soon no longer be her home. When she got there, she found some gin, just the wrong amount. Not enough to make her pass out, but too much to help her figure out how to get Max back. After she drank it all, it helped her fall asleep, hoping for some miracle that would bring Max back to her. Max was sitting in the bistro at 11 o'clock the next morning when his daughters entered. He reviewed and approved the draft divorce petition early in the morning, then drove 2 hours from Charlotte, using that time to figure out how and what to say to Jane and Joan. But first, everything is as usual. Hugs and kisses. How is school? How is work? Food ordered and eaten. Plates cleared, and then, finally, real conversation. "Dad, we know something is wrong," Joan began. "You look a little sick. Are you here to tell us you have cancer or something? And if so, where is Mom?" "Girls, yes, I have really bad news, but nothing physical. No one is going to die, and—" "It's Mom," Jane interrupted. "She did something terrible. Oh my God, did she run off with one of her firm's lawyers? A young, strong body that Joni or I should be chasing." Both girls burst out laughing, taken aback by the absurdity of the idea, until they saw that their father was not laughing. "Dad, no, not Mom, no." Joan couldn't finish her fear out loud. "Girls, listen to me carefully. Yes, Mom changed. She cheated on me, but that doesn't mean she cheated on you girls." "Yes, that's right, Daddy," Joan said through tears. "If her cheating is destroying our family, then yes, she cheated on us just as much as she cheated on you." Both girls cried, and then Max started crying too. The girls stood up and tried to hug their dad and hug each other at the same time. "Dad, let's get out of here," Jane said. "There's a park about 2 blocks from here, and we'll have more privacy there." People were staring a bit, so Max quickly paid the bill, and they walked into the park, a girl on each side of him, all of them holding each other. "Tell us, Dad," Jane said after they found a bench to share. "We deserve to hear how bad it is." "You know, she's right," Joan intervened. "We are quite mature and can handle this." "On the way here, I was racking my brains over what to tell you," Max began. "I agree. You are both adults. And yes, you are right. Your mother did cheat on all of us. I'm afraid I found my mother at home in our bed with another man, and she later admitted that there had been other men before him. I think I'm still in a bit of shock, but I know that she and I won't be able to recover from this. I've already talked to a divorce lawyer, and Mom is getting a divorce petition today." More tears, and then finally silence, as they all thought about the news and what their future would be like. "Girls, no matter how bad it is, you need to put yourself and your schoolwork first. Enough money to pay for your senior year here at Duke. And if either or both of you want to do graduate work, I suspect I can find some money for that too. But there is a quid pro quo here." They looked at him. What did he mean? "I'm happy to pay for your education, but I expect you to work hard and get good grades. Yes, what Mom did makes it difficult to concentrate on school, but you told me that you are adults, and real adults, mature, disciplined people can handle such adversity. Right?" They looked at each other, cried again, and hugged him. Yes, Daddy, you are the best, and we absolutely, positively will not let you down." Joan encouraged him while Jane looked thoughtful. "Dad, Joan is right. We won't let you down. But what about you? Will you be okay? What are you going to do?" "Well, you can think about a lot in a 2-hour drive. First, I want you both to know that what you said does not surprise me at all. I know you will continue to do well in school, and I will continue to be proud of you. As for me, what my mother did beat me up pretty bad. I could crawl into a hole and just, suffer, feel sorry for myself, try to find a way to make peace with your mom. But I realized that this doesn't suit me. I've spent my entire adult life caring for other people. When I started working for my grandparents' company, I took care of them. And then after they left, I took care of my sisters as they owned their shares in the company. And then I took care of my mom, and I took care of you girls. It sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm really not. The company will soon be sold, and this will relieve me of responsibility for my sisters. Camilla left. And you guys, I promise that I will be happy to take care of you, to help you start your adult life. So what? 2 home runs out of 3 in terms of the women in my life. Not bad at all. That leaves me. And guess what? I look at this whole story with betrayal and divorce not as the worst thing in my life, but as a chance to start a new life. A whole new life dedicated to caring for one person. Me? Fine. Dad? Really? I mean, if you really mean what you say, that's great, Joan said. Jane was a little more skeptical. Dad, what does all this really mean? New life? What? Work for another pharmaceutical company? Are you buying a farm? What? Good question, and I really have a good answer. No details yet, but this new life will be physical. I'm going to run marathons, climb mountains, swim across the Atlantic, climb the Alps, go on safari. I have a million things I'm going to do. And guess what? While I'm doing these things, I might meet a nice woman doing the same thing. And who knows? Damn it, Dad, this is amazing. Both girls looked at him with their mouths open. This was their father, not some enterprising stallion. Did you really come up with all this while driving here from Charlotte? Asked Jane. Well, yes, partly, but besides, I didn't sleep much, and different ideas were spinning in my head. I mean, I could start drinking and feeling sorry for myself, but instead, I'm going to make the best of this mess. Trust me, I'll be fine. Max left his girls with more hugs and kisses and tears as he headed back to Charlotte, still in the gold Mercedes. As soon as Max left, the girls called their mother on the phone. Hello? A creaky voice answered the phone in the Tronders' house. Joan put her phone on speaker. Mom, this is Joan and Jane. We had just had breakfast with Dad, and he told us some terrible news. What did he say? Well, divorce was a terrible word, and the reason was your betrayal. Dad gave us a little more detail, but that's basically it. This is true? Oh, girls, this is difficult. He and I have been married for a long time, and this mistake. Yes, I made a big mistake. Well, more than one, actually. But I'm sure we can get through it. I just need to give your father some time to... Mom, Joan interrupted. Listen. Dad said divorce. He didn't talk about fixing the error. Mom, he was talking about cheating. Well, yes, technically he's right. But that doesn't mean we can't fix it. I told him I would do anything. Mom! It was Jane's turn to interrupt. I think you're delusional. He told us that he had already met with a divorce lawyer. He actually said there was no turning back for you two. Joan and I don't want to take sides, but you have to understand reality. Tormented breathing on the other end of the line. Joan and Jane looked at each other. Should they have gone to Charlotte? Finally, Camilla spoke, not much louder than a whisper. I know I screwed up and ruined my marriage. I think your father hates me, and he's right. I've done disgusting things. He told me to hire a lawyer, and he was right about that too. I'm sorry, girls. I know it's terrible for you too. Mom, don't worry about us, Joan said. Everything will be fine with us, and I know that Dad is doing everything in his power. You need to take care of yourself. Hiring a lawyer sounds like a good idea. Jane and I can go to Charlotte if you need it. Thank you, girls. This is nice. I'll be okay. I just need some time to get used to what I did. They hung up. The girls still didn't know what to do. You know, Joan said, it's funny, although it's not funny, but we're more worried about Mom, who created all this mess, than about Dad. They talked some more, eventually deciding not to go home, but to let their parents deal with each other without their daughters interfering. Camilla sat in her home in Charlotte, a little hungover from the gin she'd drunk the night before and more than a little depressed after talking to her daughters. She knew she had to get up, get dressed, and leave the house. Do something, she thought. As her thoughts turned to perhaps buying some more gin, the doorbell rang. Camilla opened the door. A young woman stood on the threshold. She looked like she was chewing gum. "Can I help you?" Camilla asked. "Yes, ma'am. Are you Camilla Tronder, Max Tronder's wife?" "Why, yes, it's me. Why are you asking?" "Ma'am, you have been served," the woman said, handing Camille a folder with documents and taking photographs. "What? What?" Camille asked as the woman walked back to her car. Camille returned to the house and sat down at the kitchen table to look at the mysterious folder. When she saw the title of the first document, she almost fainted. A petition for divorce. She remembered Max's last words to her, "Get a lawyer." As she sat there looking at the familiar kitchen she had enjoyed with Max, she knew the happy days wouldn't come back after what she had done. Camilla was right. She and Max did not return after her betrayal. 6 years later, sitting in the ballroom of an expensive hotel and watching Jane dance with her new husband, Camilla mentally plunged into the past. When the girls were teenagers, she thought life was terrible. Too many activities, too much teenage angst because too many boys were either too mean or, from Camille's point of view, too nice to the girls. Max was too busy with her assistant job, and lawyer is too boring. Life had been overwhelming then, but now she missed it terribly. She was still working at the same law firm, doing the same boring paperwork. She dreamed. "Camilla, here is your wine." Camille looked at her beau, the perfectly sweet middle-aged, paunchy, balding lawyer who had escorted her to Janie's wedding and reception. "The bride looks lovely, just like her mother. Thank you, Carl, you're sweet, and thanks for the wine." He was a sweet man, and she could imagine marrying him if he was interested, but he definitely wasn't Max. She couldn't help but look across the room at Max. Max had just returned from a mountaineering trip to Nepal, and Camilla thought he looked like one of those bronze Greek god statues. Tanned, incredibly fit, even more handsome than she remembered. Right now he was smiling and laughing with Joan and her boyfriend, holding hands with a woman as beautiful and as fit as Max. Joan told her that Max had met the woman on another mountaineering trip, somewhere in South America, and they had been traveling, sailing, and climbing together for several months. Camille felt sick just thinking about it. "Camilla!" Carl tried to attract her attention. "Yes, Carl?" "Camilla, I think we should leave. You've fulfilled your duties as mother of the bride, and staying here drooling over your ex-husband isn't doing you any favors, and I dare say this is not very good for the relationship that we have with you. Carl, you're sweet, and you're absolutely right. Let me go say goodbye to my daughters and we'll be out of here." Camilla hugged and kissed her daughters, wished the newlyweds all the best, and, as hard as it was for her, ignored Max and his too-cute girlfriend. Max actually saw Camille as she left the hall and felt a slight pang of sadness for their old times together. While he was watching her, Joan asked him a question. "Sorry, Joni, what were you saying?" "Daddy, remember that strange-looking gold Mercedes you were driving when you, Jane, and I had breakfast that morning when you came to visit us at Duke? What happened to that car?" "Ah, Joni, that's a whole story that I won't bore you with. Let me just say that I borrowed this weird gold Mercedes from a friend and ended up giving it back to her. I think she sold it. It was truly an unlucky car." And Max turned to his friend to talk about their next trip to the mountains. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one.